co-host for the inaugural Yardie Sports Women in Sports Conference, it was truly great. This year promises to be phenomenal. This conference highlights the role of women in sports and their importance to its development. June 16, 2021, the second edition of Yardie Sports Women in Sports Conference. Save the date and be sure to tune in. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly stand for the playing of the national anthem. As we pray. Mighty God, we thank you for this special occasion. We thank you that we can gather here in this fashion, Father, to celebrate our women in sports. Lord, we give you thanks for all that you have done and all that you continue to do for sports here in Jamaica and the world. Father, we just ask that you will bless the proceedings this morning, that everything will go well and in your glory. Father, we give you thanks and we give you praise for all that you will do for us. Father, you are worthy to be praised. You are the King of kings and the Lord of lords, and we thank you for your grace and mercies. Dear God, be with those who are on their way. And again, we ask for your blessings on the proceedings. In your holy and precious name, amen. You may be seated. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the second edition of the Yardie Sports Women in Sports Conference. We promise you that it will be phenomenal. We have moved it from great to phenomenal. It's the second edition, and I will ask Dwayne just to step forward a little. I know he doesn't like this much, but we need to give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, from early. It hasn't been easy for him this year due to the coronavirus. As we know, it hasn't been easy for all of us, but he's took it out, and we are here. Women in Sports Conference. Clap him one more time for me, please. One more time. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Dwayne, for sticking it out. Women, wise, organized mentors excelling naturally in sports, skillful, persevering, outstanding, record-breaking, tenacious, stellar. Those are our women in sports. A big thank you to our sponsors, or returning sponsors, True Juice, Sports Development Foundation, Ensure, and Sagicor. And thank you to our new sponsors, J3A's Western Momento,
Okay,
Yardie Sports Women in Sports Conference. Say something to everyone.
Back together again.
Oh, yes. Shall we sing? All right, so to those viewing on Facebook and YouTube, welcome, welcome, welcome. And we do ask that you share the link so that others can come in and experience the experience we're about to experience right here. Amen. So let us continue, and without further ado, go to our greetings coming from Mrs. Nicole Case. Oh my gosh, she is a banker by profession, and she is the president of the Jamaica Volleyball
Badminton Association.
Association, yes.
Yes.
Anything else you want to say about her?
Very effervescent.
Oh, Lord.
Very accomplished lady in her own right.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Case, over to you.
And very beautiful, too. Look at her coming. Woo! Give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Are we going to have that Fenke round of applause? Oh, yes, keep it going.
There is no limit to what we as women can accomplish. That bears repeating. There is no limit to what we as women can accomplish. These inspiring words are from the intelligent and charismatic Michelle Obama. Good morning to you all, and welcome to the Yardie Sports Women in Sports Conference 2021. Let me first congratulate Yardie Sports CEO, Mr. Dwayne Richards, for hosting this very special event for the second year in a row. Despite the challenges of navigating the restrictions imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic, it is truly important to continue this conversation that recognizes the efforts of those who have broken barriers and have contributed to the evolution of sports. This year's theme, the impact of women on the Olympic Games, the impact of the Olympic Games on the women. It truly allows us to reflect, honor, and celebrate the collective efforts of women who have broken barriers, inspiring more women and girls to be bold and recognize that there is truly no limit to what we as women can accomplish. I would like to extend a special welcome to Yardie Sports honoree, Alia Atkinson, Order of Distinction in the rank of Commander. She is a 4-time Olympic swimmer for Jamaica, starting at 16 years old with her first Olympics at the 2004 Athens Games. She has won multiple swimming medals for Jamaica across the globe at various international events and is the first black woman to win a swimming title and the world record holder for the 50-meter breaststroke short course. She is also currently the champion ambassador for the Special Olympics Caribbean. Alia will be represented today by her manager, Karen Smith. I would like to welcome my fellow sports administrators, Mrs. Jacqueline Cohen, President of the Jamaica Volleyball Association, Mrs. Nicole Grant Brown, President of Gymnastics Jamaica, and one of our sponsors, Mr. Garth Gale, President of the Athletic Administrative Association. I also welcome our prestigious Olympians joining and sharing with us today. Ms. Vilma Charlton, OD, three-time track and field Jamaican Olympian, retired lecturer from the University of the West Indies, and the current fourth vice president of the Jamaica Athletic Administrative Association. Ms. Christine Day, welcome, two-time Jamaican Olympian and track and field 400-meter specialist. Mrs. Tanya Richards Ross, Jamaican-born American multiple Olympic gold medalist, specializing in the 400-meter, dominating for several consecutive years, and author of Chasing Grace. We also welcome our educators who will share their insights and perspectives. Dr. Olivia Rose, PhD, sports psychologist with the University of the West Indies and author of Live Inspired. Mrs. Colette Price, veteran educator and the current principal of St. Jago High School, a coeducational institution renowned for nurturing strong athletes. Mrs. Tamara Williams Gale, noteworthy track and field coach at the Oberlin High School, leading our young athletes in their quest to break barriers. And last, but certainly not least, Ms. Trishana McGowan, former national athlete in the 400-meter hurdles and sports journalist for the year for 2020. Sports is one of the most powerful platforms for promoting gender equality and empowering women and girls. The International Olympic Committee, through the Olympic Games, encourages and supports the promotion of women in sports at all levels and in all structures with a view to implementing the principles of equality of men and women. As we look at the impact of the Olympic Games on women, we can acknowledge that great progress has been made in terms of balancing the number of female athletes participating in the Olympic Games. However, the journey must continue as we seek to increase the level of female participation as technical officials, coaches, and sports administrators. Today, we gather to reinforce our efforts, our commitment to support women across all areas of sports. So let us briefly reflect on our journey right here in Jamaica. Jamaica has had 373 athletes participating in the Olympics since 1948. 36% of these athletes have been women. Some of the pioneering female athletes for the Olympics, Jamaican Olympians, have been in athletics, starting in 1948, Vinton Ruth Beckett, Carmen Phipps, Kathleen Russell, and Cynthia Thompson. In 1972, swimming broke the barrier with Belinda Phillips, and in diving with Betsy Sullivan. In 2000, triathlon with Iona Winter. In 2004, badminton, Nigella Saunders. Shooting, Dawn Marie Kobayashi. In 2008, equestrian, Samantha Albert. 2016, gymnastics, Tony Ann Williams. In 2018, in the Winter Olympics, Jasmine Finlater Victorian and Kerry Russell as our first female bobsleigh Olympians. Isn't that impressive? And let's just think about how many women came after all of these ladies who pioneered and paved the way. Let me talk about a few of them. The Honorable, this is a long title, and deservedly so. The Honorable Merlene Otti Page, Officer of the Order of Nation, Order of Distinction, Commander Class, and Order of Jamaica. In 1980, she became our first female Olympic medalist for Jamaica when she took the bronze in the women's 200 meters. She was also the first female English-speaking Caribbean athlete to win an Olympic medal. And 2 Olympics later, in 1988, she was the first female flag bearer at the Olympics for Jamaica. In 1988, Grace Jackson Small broke another barrier. She became our first female silver medalist at the Seoul Olympics. And of course, we all remember 1996, Dion Hemmings, Order of Distinction, Commander Class, became our first female gold medalist for Jamaica and the Caribbean at the Atlanta Olympics. These ladies truly paved the way for several other female successes in sports. 4 of our Jamaican ladies currently lead the charge with the highest number of female Olympic medals. Merlene Otti Page, 9 medals. Veronica Campbell-Brown, 8 medals. Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, 6 medals. And of course, I have to add, I'm the fastest woman alive. Novleen Williams-Mills with 4 medals. And we know that there are several countless other female Olympians and medalists. As we continue the conversation today, we know that there is more work to be done, with 15% of our local sporting associations having female presidents. 25% females are holding the role of either president or general secretary, the 2 roles considered to be the highest roles in any sporting body. So we are making headways, because I will tell you, 2 years ago we were at 11%, and we have now moved to 15%. We need to continue to push in the right direction. We also acknowledge that many of our challenges around keeping our girls engaged in sports continues. So let us focus on strategies to remove these barriers and impediments to the ongoing success of women in sports. Our female Olympians have demonstrated the spirit of giving back. Many have become administrators, helping to make things better and paving the way for others to come. Others continue to contribute to their community as ambassadors for change, and through their respective foundations, continuing to leave their mark on the world beyond the Olympic Games. Today, let us share our ideas, our experiences, our lessons, our successes. It is this type of discourse that will allow us to benefit from our collective knowledge and replicate and advance the movement to achieve gender equity in all respects. I will close, as I have started, with the truly inspiring words from Michelle Obama that I must say I try to live by. There is no limit to what we as women can accomplish. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Nicole Case. And I can add now to her list of accolades, historian. She did give us quite a few history there. Thank you so much for that. Wonderful stuff. Coming on now to bring greetings. They say that when your head ball, you're rich, you know. You think him rich? Can I get a little small, sir? He's my friend, so I'm sure he'll give me something. He's the 2nd Vice President of the JOA. He was Honorary Secretary of the J3As for 20 years. Clap him, clap him, clap him, clap him. And now, you know, Mrs. Keys say her hand is the heaviest hand. No, I like the applause low. Yeah, thank you. He is now the president of the J3As. He's a member of the NACA Council, and he is principal of Charlemont. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as he comes to bring greetings. My rich friend, Mr. Garth Gale.
Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good morning. When you are in an audience with such rich personnel and personalities, you have to make sure you don't make any mistake. Master of Ceremonies, my good friend. And yes, we will speak after the meeting. All protocols observed. Good morning. I take particular pleasure in being here today and extend my heartfelt commendation to Mr. Dwayne Richards for his continuation of this excellent initiative. I take even more pleasure in the recognition of the role Jamaican women have played in the development, especially of sports, but more especially track and field. These track and field heroines have helped to drive Jamaica in the sporting landscape. Women were not permitted to participate in the Olympic Games until in the 19s. You may recall, if you are not too young, that noticeable, the headmasters of secondary schools in Jamaica commissioned championships in 1910. And championships then was only for boys. I use this as a context for establishing Jamaica's historical nature and improvement in the global track and field as our women helped to blaze the trail for our current position of third in the world in track and field. Even as early as 1946, I can recall the late Dr. Cynthia Thompson entered the then national trials, winning both sprint events after being encouraged by her friend, who both later represented the country at the 1948 Olympic Games. Dr. Cynthia Thompson made it to the finals. Her friend finished a little higher than her. Even as I stand here today, a phrase comes to mind. If you can see further, it is because you stood on the shoulder of giants. Jamaican women have been dominating the track and field the track and field community for over 20 years. And I would wish to acknowledge their feats. And earlier, my good friend and member of the Olympic Association read out a litany of these achievements. I'll try to see if I can better her. So it would be remiss of us not to forget these individuals. Una Morris, 4th place in the 200 meters at the 1964 Tokyo Olympics. Miss Vilma Charlton, CD, Olympian from as early as the 1968. And a friend, a teacher, and I could continue. She has been a lecturer to me as well. And today I stand proud of if not all of my achievements. Miss Charlton has played a part in that. How could we not remember 17, I want you to listen please, 17-year-old Marlene Newville, who won gold and established a world record in the Commonwealth Games in Edinburgh in 1970. Her world record has stood for quite a while. Audrey Reed, the first Jamaican to clear 6 feet in the female high jump. The Honorable Merlene Otte Page, ONCD OJ, the sweetheart of our nation. Kathy Rattray Williams, 4-time Olympian in the 400 meters. Jacqueline Pusey, coming out of St. Mary, who represented the country in the 1976 Olympics. And also, if I remembered, Miss Charlton, would be a schoolgirl. Dion Emmons McCarthy, OD, first Olympic gold medalist. And I come to recent time, as she blazed the stadium track in the JOA J3A's Olympic Destiny Series of 10.63 seconds, now the fastest woman alive in 100 meters, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price. I could go on and on, but time does not permit. Ladies and gentlemen, Jamaica is unique because of the efforts and the magnificent performance of these and other ladies. So today, the J3s, and I'm proud to represent the J3s, as we salute and we congratulate Mr. Richards and his committee for continuing to recognize Jamaican women in track and field, locally and internationally. How many nations have grown with female national or can boast a female national hero? Think about it. We can. It is my hope that I have stirred in you some interest as to the full legacy of our track and field history done by our female. And how could I have continued without recognizing the beautiful Christine Day? I've traveled on many teams with her, and a very humble little giant of a woman. And I know the plane will not miss her because her seat is already booked for Tokyo Olympics. It is easy for us to lose sight of our history in track and field, simply because our current stars have shone so amazing. Let's not allow that to happen. I join all that are present here this morning in celebrating, honoring our Olympians, our national female heroine in all disciplines, and that they are especially the recipient of this year's honor. And we thank Yardie Sport through Mr. Dwayne Richards in recognizing Alia Atkinson as the honoree for 2021 conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir Gail, personal friend, and Fortis. We now invite Mrs. Nicole Case, yes, to step forward, and we will have Alison Dexter, the marketing manager, Ensure, Caramed, one of the main sponsors here today, presenting a gift to Mrs. Case. Caramed, a long-standing partner of Yardie Sports. Thank you very much. We now have Carisha Ferguson, I think on behalf of True Juice, the marketing coordinator. And we invite Sergey to come forward again for this presentation. Round of applause again, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful, indeed. As we now progress with our program, we move to our administrator's presentations. And I have the privilege and honor to introduce a wonderful woman. But we'll take a break first, a commercial break, for the second edition of the Yardie Sports Women in Sports Conference 2021. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And now we'll have the start of our administrators' presentations. And I wish to invite forward the president of the Jamaica Volleyball Association. She's also the general secretary for the Caribbean Zonal Volleyball Association, a personal friend, confidant, someone who has helped me on my administrator journey while at badminton. She has been benefactor and showed much benevolence to other sporting associations, namely football also, along with volleyball and badminton, by extension of inviting us in her space at the national arena as part of their home. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mrs. Jacqueline Cowan.
Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure this morning to be able to share my experiences as a sports administrator in mostly what is seen as a male-dominated sport. As Antonia stated, I'm not only the president of Jamaica Volleyball Association, general secretary for the Caribbean Zone of Volleyball Association. I'm also a board member of the North America, Central America, and Caribbean region. Prior to entering volleyball, I was in a truly male-dominated sport, which is football. I was a board member for the Jamaica Football Federation, vice president of Kingston and St. Andrew Football Association, and the team manager for the men's Premier League team for Harborview that won the Premier League in 2013. So I've had a lot of experience in the men's world, so to speak. There are a lot of challenges that we face as female administrators, but I don't want to focus on the challenges. I will list them, those the few that I have, but I want to share some of the experiences that I have as an administrator and how I was able to overcome some of these challenges. Okay, so what are some of the challenges we face? I think we all know some of them. The stereotyping of women. Men are seen as the leaders, women are seen as emotional. And my daughter reminded me this morning that nobody's more emotional than men, because when they get into their feelings, and all, right? So she reminded me of that this morning. The Old Boys Club. We heard it this morning. Fortis forever. I'm here right now, and I cannot tell you which schools you all went to, and you don't know what school I went to. You would never have that with men. They all know what school they went to, and they look out for themselves. We don't do that. It was a room just like this with females. Nobody knew what school everybody went to. So what do? We don't network. We don't help each other, right? We don't get invited to the skyboxes at Sabina Park and all of these things, right? That is like taboo to us, right? In other words, we don't hang out, right? Segregation based on job type. Could be in a room with all men, one female, somebody needs to take minutes. Well, you know what I do? When they do that, I go, don't point on me. I'm not doing it, right? Because just because I'm a female does not mean that I like to take minutes. I hate it, right? So let someone else do that. And again, a fear of taking risks and a fear of failure. It plagues all of us. We're scared, but we need to overcome that. Right? So overcoming the challenges. One of the things I've tried not to do is to think myself as a woman when I go into a setting. I'm a person doing a job. If you start thinking yourself as a woman, you're failed already, because you've already put yourself in a box. You need to take yourself out of the box. You're a woman first. Right? And you need to arm yourself with knowledge. Some of us don't do that. If you're in a sport, it doesn't matter what it is. I had a hard time moving from football, where I knew everything, going into volleyball, where I had to learn what it is. So what did I do? I had to learn all the rules and the regulations that guide the sport. I had to learn what the governing bodies, what the structure was, what the constitution is, how does it relate to what I do locally. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of reading. But men will try to trick you up, ladies. Right? And they will tell you things that they know not true, thinking that you don't know any better. Right? So you need to arm yourself with knowledge. You need to be able to make decisions and accept the outcome. If you make a decision, do it. Don't be wishy-washy. Men take advantage of. I'm sorry, men, but I have to really. But we all have experienced it. I'm not saying anything that you don't know, but mostly we don't have a forum in which we can actually express it. Right? You have to learn how to curse, you know. Simple, you're in a sport. I don't know what it is you want to curse, but you know, but I know what my preference is. Right? You have to make your presence known. As much as possible, I go to everything that is being kept in my association. Every sporting event is difficult, but you have to do it, because guess what? When you don't do it as a female administrator, people come up with all that kind of excuses why you can't go. Whether or not it's your child, or your husband, or something happened. There's always experience. Men don't have that challenge, you know. right? But we have that challenge. So I try my best to be at all functions, no matter what it is. If it's even just to show my face, right? When I was in football, I went to places I never dreamt I would ever go to. Fortunate for me, my daughter played football. She played on the national team, so we were forced to go places. But the fact of the matter is, you're going to get called to go to places. You go to places like there's no bathroom. What are you going to do, right? But you have to, as them say, man up and deal with it. And I spoke about it, learning to balance family and work. It is critical that you have support, right? Because you're going to have to leave your family, but it's a commitment that you have made to your sport. It's a commitment that you have made to the job. And at some time, you have to drag them with you. You just have to drag them, kicking and screaming, but you cannot do it by yourself. Because if you go home and you don't have the support, it's stress. Fortunate for me, when I said to my husband, what we're going to eat for dinner, he'll say, whatever, bye. Right? So I'm one of the lucky ones, but not everybody has that, but you have to try and temper that. So just in conclusion, be serious about your work, but don't take yourself seriously. You have to learn how to laugh. Shut it up. Move along. Work harder than everybody else. I'm of the view, if you work, your work will speak to you and people will recognize your work. It doesn't matter whether you're male or female. Most of the times I'm the only female in a room. But with authority, because you know you would have done your homework and you know your subject matter, so you'll be fine. Be on your game. Always be one step ahead. Anticipate everything that they're going to do. When I say they, you know who I mean, right? Right? Have a backbone. Have a backbone. Don't let nobody bend you. Right? You need to be strong. Set goals for yourself. Put them on paper. If you don't put it on paper, it's a dream. Share your goals though, because you cannot do it by yourself. I've been in many other meetings when people would say, but this is what I wanted to do. I'm like, I'm not in your head. Right? If you have a goal, everybody needs to know. Surround yourself with persons who have the knowledge. My whole management team is, they're all men. Not because I chose it that way, because women don't really put themselves forward, but I chose the right people for the job. Right? Recognize your strengths. Take advantage of your strengths. You know what they are. Use it to your advantage. It doesn't have to be in a myopic tunnel. You can move it for whatever area that you want. My strength happens to be people skills. I was in HR for many years. I was in banking for many years. So I use that to get things done through people. Right? So I try to use the skill that you have. And in closing, if you are passionate, it will show. All right, thank you so much.
When you talk about short and sweet and spicy, that was Mrs. Cohen just now. And I'm so happy that I don't have to be asking for the round of applause anymore. You got it, you got it, you got it. And Mr. Antonio Bell, Mr. Dwayne Richard, CEO, Yardie Sports, will come forward now to Mrs. Cohen.
It's an absolute pleasure to making this presentation to you. We were group members, and of course, it was very, very interesting. She was the leader, and there were a lot of men. So, for us who are in the course, we are used to her strength, and we applaud her for the role that she's played in sports in Jamaica. It's been significant, and those who know. So, thank you very much for being here and making this presentation today.
Thank you. And I just want to make a correction. They call me Jonathan.
Dana. Oh, go again. And Danetta. Oh, go again. Dana Van. No, Dana. So she made something. I mean, she said something that is true. I mean, Antonio had to come up, and these guys, every opportunity they get. Oh, so before I speak further. Harisha Ferguson, Marketing Coordinator, Tradewin, Citrus will present. Thank you. So I am going to do a little thing right now. It's going to start here, only because of you, Mrs. Cohen. So you can put this down in your history notes that you started the women boasting about their schools, because Antonio, for some reason, just had to come. That's how the Fortis guys are, the KC guys are. I mean, I don't know how Dwayne don't say it yet, but I'm sure he'll say it before the day ends. So let us start around the room, and I want to know which school you went to. So just pull down your mask and shout it out loud that everybody can hear. So we're starting right here. No, I'm skipping your Karen. Karen, which school you went to? Let's go. Red out.
The Great Immaculate Conception.
Woo, immaculate. Do I have any other immaculate lady? Woo, Allison, that's for what? 2 years. Form for 2 years. It counts. So since I'm with you, Allison, and then where did you go for the first 5?
The Montego Bay High School for Girls.
Woo! All the way from St. James. Carisha.
I went to Ealing Agricultural Student Space to make a proud country girl.
I've never, Elim Agricultural?
Yes.
That's a high school?
Yes, it's no Signification High School.
Oh, see, I'm learning. I'm not going to say I knew when I didn't. Dr. Liv. Woo, so we have 2 country girls. Woo! Oh yes, 3. Miss Charlton. Woo, you girl, come on, St. Andrew. Yeah, back in the days it was St. Andrew. Uh-huh. And I'm going to get another one. Krishana. Okay. Can I get a phone number? Oh, okay. Oh, praise God. You got that right, though, about the boys not cheering for us. Christine. Woo! Another country girl. Woohoo! Kingstonians, where are you? Now it's getting hot. Mrs. Cohen, do you see what you started? It's getting hot. Well, it seems as if Camperdown a twang there. Okay. And we have, so Mrs. Cohen, now since you're the leader of this. Woo! Well, should I say where I went? I went to Wilmer's, and then I went to Holy Childhood. Don't ask. So come on, 2 schools, yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Mrs. Cohen. So let us start to network more, ladies. Yeah, we can do it? Yes, we can. So I just want to apologize for Mrs. Nicole Grant Brown, president of Jamaica Gymnastics Association. She had to leave the island on an emergency, so I apologize for her. So we move on to our Olympians. Woo! And you heard it. We have the fastest woman alive right here in Jamaica, Shelly Ann Fraser Price, 10.63. And I'm so glad I was there to witness it. Yes, right here on home soil at the National Stadium. And so to start us off in the Olympians presentation is a young lady who specializes in 400 meters. She was in the 2012 Olympic, and she gained a silver medal in the 4x400 meters. 2015 World Championship gold medal in the 4x400 meters. In 2014, the Commonwealth Games 100-meter bronze medal and gold in the 4x400 meters. 2018 Commonwealth Games gold medal. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Christine Day, Olympian.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me here to share my journey with you to become an Olympian. Okay, so my introduction to track and field was normal, like any other schoolgirls growing up, sports league. And I can remember wanting to win everything that I do. everything. And if I lose, I will cry, like literally cry. And I remember moving to high school, it was the same thing. I never have any dream of becoming an Olympian. I just enjoy competing and just enjoy running, and it was just for me. But there was an inner drive within me where I was competitive, doing it at the same time. I remember in grade 11 where this coach, he saw me and he said like which school I was from. And I never have any coach or anything. It was just like our teachers and everything, just getting points for our houses in school. And he came to the school and he actually said, you know that, I want to train for the 400 meters. And I actually cried because growing up, you see everybody running 100, 200. You want to be like just a sprinter, like the shorter sprint. Even though 400 meters is a longer sprint, but you know, it's very long. But I actually cried and I said, no, I am not going to do the 400 meters. And he said, well, you're not a 100 meter runner, and you're too, because of my small frame. I'm so tiny. I'm big now. But I mean, I actually cried when I heard that I was going to be a quarter miler. And he said that I should actually do the 800 as well because of my small frame. I remember going to a track meet and he gave me the 800 meters. And believe you me, I only ran the first lap and stopped. Because I just decided that I'm not going to do anything over the 400, because in my mind I'm saying, okay, you robbed me of my 100 and my 200 meters. And there I went to the boys and girls champs, and it was my first time in grade 11. I made it to the finals. I gave my school points for the first time. Taki High School actually name call getting points at boys and girls champs, and I was the first athlete to ever do that for my school, even up until today. And I get a scholarship. That's where I picked up a scholarship for UTEC, and that's where culture shock. I was culture shocked because I was amongst the greatest athletes in the world at that time. Asafa was the record holder. You have Sharon Simpson, you have Richard Foster Hilton, Melanie Walker, you name them. We have all the top athletes in Jamaica and also in the world. Training was very hard for me, and I couldn't manage really. Trishana was actually my training partner as well, so she can actually testify to that training session. So my dream then, wanting to be an Olympian, I started to not believe that it would happen again. Because at this time, I was trying to catch up with my group. And because I was like my small frame, I wasn't as strong as them, I wasn't as fast as them. And so everything was like in my head that I need to have all of these to actually be an Olympian. And I remember I wanted to quit track and field because I was having a lot of injuries during my hard time already in training. And I wanted to quit, like trials is like next week, and this week I wanted to not go to the Olympic Games. And I remember my best friend, of course, Khalid Spencer, she said, you don't have anything to lose. Why won't you just go to the trials? If you don't make it, then you can quit if you want. And 2012 was actually my breakout year in track and field, where I made my first Olympic Games, and that was the turning point for me, my career. Going to the Olympics, it was a dream come true. And I was very excited. The crowd was so big, and you know, it is London, and we have a lot of Jamaicans there. And you know how Jamaicans, you know how we behave, you know, we want to rule everything. And while I was there at the game, it was like my life actually, like I was everything just keep flashing in my mind, like, am I really here? And it was such a great experience for me. And there, it is the beginning also of like pressure, meaning to maintain the standard going forward. Because once you hit that mark, once you reach that place in your career, you don't want to go back. And so now more pressure is built up. Even though during that time I was excited, I was enjoying the Olympic Games and everything, but to continue, even up to now, the dream, the training is still the same. It's like you're starting over, and it is still hard. You have young athletes coming up. You have elites just like yourself still maintaining. The journey is not easy as we continue. Because of my drive and my determination, I am not easily broken, and I am not afraid to lose. Even though I don't want to lose, but I'm not afraid to lose. I learn from these mistakes, and I try to build and work on myself as I try to achieve what I want to achieve at the Olympic Games at the highest level again. As the trials is approaching next week, this will be my third Olympic Games, and like you said, I don't have to worry knowing that the president said my ticket is already booked. So I guess that I don't have to worry about going to the Olympic this year. And the challenge, it is not an easy road. You have to still work on yourself, still have to work on your esteem, still have to work on, you still have weak areas that you want to work on as older, as mature as you are in the sport. But knowing that myself and Shelly-Ann, we are same age, Shelly-Ann, she's now become the fastest woman alive. And so that actually motivates me to say that, we still have it. A lot of persons sometimes will say, younger athletes time, and you have to motivate them as well, but sometimes they want to push you aside and said maybe your time is over. And Shelly-Ann has proved that that's not the case actually. So I am really humbled, and I'm really happy to be an Olympian, and it actually paved a lot of way for me, meaning you can get away with a lot of things. You're not going to put yourself in any danger, but the respect that you get as you stand as an Olympian once they recognize who you are, even in the supermarket, as simple as the supermarket, if they see you and they recognize you, everyone wants to treat you with respect, and they look up to you so much, and who they are carried up in their daughters saying they want to be like you. And it is just different. It's like I am not really my own when I stepped out in public. It's like you have to. It's not like I'm going to behave rude or anything, but you're not really normal when you walk on the street. You're not really a normal person anymore. You're living as an example for young girls, for people, and it is not much of a pressure, but sometimes it can actually feel pressuring, because sometimes you just want to be who you are. You just want to, they easy judge you if they said, so she behaved, but you just want to be you, because at the end of the day, being an Olympian, you're still, I'm a woman, I have feelings, I have emotions, and we all know how we are when times, So I am just happy that I actually crossed that border, and I am still chasing my dream to actually get that individual medal at this Olympic coming in July and end of August. Thank you.
Yeah, come on, go Taki. Yeah, go Taki. So a presentation will be made to Christine Day by Mr. Antonio Bell, my co-host.
Let me just get out of the way.
I just want to also say that if Christine never hear me when she's running, she'll think that I'm her coach. Why is she laying back on the back? Why she don't press some more? What you waiting for? Christine, when you hear somebody in the stand shouting, I don't recognize the voice, it's me. Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I have the opportunity to introduce, some would say a stalwart. I would say the consummate administrator in Miss Vilma, Olympian Vilma Charlton. And, you know, something happened earlier this year which epitomizes how she views sport and how she views just herself in the space, where she dedicated her R.J.R. Gleaner Sports Foundation Chairman's Award to the late Herb McKinley and Keith Gardner. That in itself tells the type of person she is, and you know, we can learn a lot from her. Yes, even we men, Jackie, thanks. So without further ado, we invite Mrs. Vilma Charlton to the podium.
Thank you so much, Madam Chairperson, Peter French, Mr. Dwayne Richards, and co-host, of course. Mr. Dwayne Richards, Chairman of this August Commission recognizing the work of women, all the presidents and sportsmen in the House, and those watching virtually. The history has been laid out to us so beautifully this morning, but I'm going to go history worldwide. The impact of Olympics on women. The very first recorded Olympic Games were held at Olympia in the Greek city, 776 BC. These were held every 4 years during a religious festival honoring the Greek god Zeus. They lasted until AD 393, when they were discontinued by the then Roman Emperor Theodosius, who felt this was a pagan festival, a religious celebration honoring the Greek god Zeus, held in a sanctuary. The athletes were all male citizens of the states from every corner of the Greek world. It was Baron Pierre de Coubertin who was responsible for holding the first modern Olympics held in Greece after presenting the idea in 1894. Perhaps the most famous saying of de Coubertin is, and I quote, "The most important thing in the Olympic Games not to win, but to take part." And that is why Christine is so happy to be an Olympian. This slogan is often displayed on the video board during the Olympic ceremonies of the Olympic Games. Whereas the old or first Olympic Games were held during a religious festival honoring a pagan god, the modern Olympics grew and developed into different aims and objectives. So the modern Olympic movement promotes the development of physical and moral qualities which are the basis of sport. It promotes educating the young people through sport in a spirit of better understanding between each other and of friendship, helping to build a better and more peaceful world. It brings together the athletes of the world games. So the overarching objectives, unity, honesty, respect, and fair play are just a few. The first woman to win the first Olympic gold medal was Great Britain Charlotte Cooper in tennis singles at the Paris 1900 Olympic Games. You should see the outfit. It was a long flowing white skirt, floor length, and a long sleeve white blouse. She added a second gold with Reggie Doherty in the mixed doubles. Can you imagine that? She won one and she won a second. Jamaican women made its debut in the 1948 Olympics when the late Cynthia Thompson established a record in the 200-meter race. She was also the first female to get a track scholarship to Tennessee State. After that, women initially get into finals of before they began to win medals. And then more scholarships came about. Since 1896, more nations, over 200, and more people, more women have participated in the Olympics. Women in sport are no longer seen in the role as a secretary or as a female chaperone. They are now managers, administrators, chairpersons of organizing committees, and in media and entertainment. The list goes on. In 1972 in the USA, Title IX of the Education Amendments prohibits sex discrimination in any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. This is a federal law that states, and I quote, "No person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or any activity receiving federal financial assistance." When I taught in the United States up to 1973, and that was when everything kicked in, at that time I was heading home, the women then had no budget for physical education. Facilities like the gymnasium were handed down to the women only when a new one was built for the men. Equipment such as balls and bats were also handed down from the men's department. Now, with this law, Title IX, the budgets are separate, and women enjoy their own staff and their own programs, but sometimes they still have to share. In the first modern Olympics in Greece, no females were included, as it was believed that such physical exertion would harm their childbearing capabilities. In the past, this myth has been the cause of women's slow move into the sporting world, but we are now seeing great inroads being made by them. Take, for example, physical education programs in Jamaica. I'm so happy to be alive now to see what's happening. Very little support was received from the Ministry of Education over the years, and boy, didn't we have meetings with them. Only after begging and pleading, mixed with insults meted out to us from time to time. So this society therefore created myths, and they believed them. Some of the myths. Parents did not allow their girls and women to participate in sport because it was felt that they would get big muscles and they would develop features like men. Another myth, sports would hamper them bearing children. I said that before. Only the duns do sport. Many of you can remember that. Internationally, it was the same experience. Ministry of Education, we have no money to buy chalk, let alone balls. That was some of the insults we heard. Exercise and sports are harmful to the female reproductive system and cycle. But history has recorded pregnant women who have participated at Olympic Games successfully. They go on to win medals and later have healthy babies. Other myths. Females do not have male endurance capacities, and therefore long-distance events would be harmful to their health. Today, women, not girls, women run the 3,000 meters and up to a marathon. Involvement in sport will masculinize women, develop aggressiveness, competitiveness, and large muscles. Now we know that women's muscle size will not increase significantly as much as men. In fact, women's muscles become toned, firm, or cheeks are more rosy. A great number of women now go to the gym, but above all, G.C. Foster College has made a huge difference to society's acceptance of physical education and sports. Scholarships for girls and women are now more frequent. In the 1940s to the 1960s, only 1 or 2 Jamaicans would receive an athletic scholarship, and in many cases it would be a partial one, we say half scholarship. However, since the 80s, more coaches are scouting for the female athletes, more from abroad. The reason is that they get more mileage out of women, as they are more focused in school and more dedicated in training. The benefits of being an Olympian are huge, and Christine attested to that. And once you're a sportsman, you're always a sportsman. Once you're an Olympian, you're always an Olympian. You're not former. After the 1984 Olympics, the American Olympians forged a link with most companies who advertise on Monster.com USA, where organizations and companies hiring are encouraged to favor Olympians, and this did. This benefited more of the females than men because the men went into their own personal businesses. The benefit to the organization and company would be discipline and work ethics, which they would already acquire as former athletes. USA was responsible in initiating the startup of the now World Olympians Association after the Los Angeles Olympics in 1984, and the assistance to Olympians job was one of them. Most of our athletes have degrees and hold a job. They are physiotherapists, they're doctors, they're coaches, teachers, lecturers, sports administrators, media and entertainment, broadcasting, and announcers, to name a few. Unfortunately, many of our women cannot be recommended to sit on various international commissions because of doping violations, and that's something we have to work on. There are also role models in athletic clothing, that's the women, with elegant running gear, and more recently, they now appear for competing, lipstick, nail polish. The men see this as a fashion show, and so they have begun to support us. Today, we experience equal opportunities in a myriad of areas and at all levels. We are now seeing quality coaching because of proper training facilities. Several careers in leadership have opened up, such as coaching, officiating and judging, sport administration, and physical education for women. Here in Jamaica, the G.C. Foster College, which also serves the region, has made a huge impact on our women, as equal or close to equal financing is given to prepare their female teams. Successes in the Olympic Games have helped our physical education programs over the years, and I'm sure the other regions will tell you the same thing. G.C. Foster College has turned out well-rounded teachers and coaches who have an understanding of the sciences as it relates in activities. So the teaching of physical education has improved. The Level 1 International Coaches Program that you see all the countries doing was based on the Jamaica's physical education system or syllabus. And if you go to the islands, you will see our same curriculum in our schools that's in other countries, Antigua, Dominica. They just changed the name Jamaica and put Antigua whatever. And we have no problem with that because we are in the region. Jamaica was also instrumental in getting physical education and sport to be an examinable subject at CXC, CSEC level. And I can boast the growth of the subject in the region. The very first sitting was in 2005, and I was a chief external examiner from 2003 to 2013. And all my assistants were women or female. Physical education and sport is now at the Cape level for the last 5 years. So Jamaica can now look forward to more successful female athletes in their sporting careers and eventually in the workplace. Thanks to the influence of the Olympic Games, may the women continue to strive for excellence.
Charlton, I present to you this plaque on behalf of Yardie Sports. CEO Dwayne Richard, thank you so much. Give us a nice smile. Wonderful, thank you so much. And Felicia will come forward. Come, Mr. Bell, and take the basket for Ms. Alton. Bless you, Mrs. Thorne. So we move right along and we go to a virtual presentation coming from Sanya Richards Ross, who was born right here in Jamaica and is 4 times Olympic gold medalist, 5 times World Championships gold medalist. And in 2005 to 2009, she was ranked first in the world, and again in 2012. Pay attention, ladies and gentlemen, to the screen as Sanya Richards Ross will present Building on Your Olympic Brand. So perhaps I should entertain while we get ready. Are we ready now? Okay.
So the number one question I get asked most frequently is, how did you transition so seamlessly? And although I wouldn't say it was seamless, I certainly think I have 5 tips to help you transition like a champ. Tip number 1, start preparing yourself mentally and spiritually. Transitioning isn't easy, and the first step for getting ready for it is preparing your mind and spirit. And this will look different for everybody. This could be meditation, words of affirmation, prayer, or maybe all of them. When I was transitioning from atop the Olympic podium to life after sports, I said a very specific and intentional prayer for months. Lord, I thank you for the sport of track and field and my amazing gift of speed. And I know all gifts aren't meant to last a lifetime. I thank you for my time on the track and the whirlwind of highs and lows, but it's time for me to let it go and return that gift to you. This prayer allowed me to release my gift and truly appreciate the journey I had been on. Track and field was only going to be the foundation of all the amazing success I would continue to have in my life. Framing my transition as the most positive thing I could be doing in that moment made my next chapter that much clearer. Tip number 2, network where you are. Use every opportunity to meet the movers and shakers in your circle. A lot of times we are so focused on what we're doing that we never lift our eyes up to see all the amazing people around us. As an athlete, I had the opportunity of being on sets for photo shoots. I had great coaches, physical therapists. I went to an awesome church. I mean, even my local grocery store was always lit. I am sure there are amazing people all around you, but if you never take the time to engage with them, you never get to truly experience that 6 degrees of separation. And I know this isn't easy for everybody. I'm a social butterfly, so it comes naturally to me, but this is an area that you have to stretch yourself. Your next big opportunity could literally be sitting right next to you. Tip number 3, be bold and intentional about your next move. Don't be afraid to speak life into the things you want to achieve next.
You're welcome, and we can't get out and let you go without saying what's next for you, because you've been at the top in everything you've done. What will you be at the top at next?
Well, I do want to go into broadcasting. That's one of the things I'm passionate about. I'm working on a book, wanting to inspire other people to strive to be their best, so that will be out in 2017. And then a mom. I want to start a family, so I'm excited about that.
Many times it's not other people putting you in a box, it's that you've created that box for yourself. People are only giving you exactly what you've put out there. So if you desire to move on or transition, make it plain. I want you to be unapologetic and bold about all the things you want to achieve next. Tip number 4, get ready to put in that work. I know. It doesn't matter how hard you worked on the first job, doesn't matter how successful you were, nobody is going to hand you a gold medal in this arena. You're gonna have to get ready to put in that work. You'll have to commit to your 10,000 hours all over again, and it's vital. There'll be new experiences that you'll need to excel, and new failures you must endure to be prepared. So embrace it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But trust me, when you're operating in your passion, 99% of the time, it won't even feel like work. Tip number 5, trust the process. One of the things I become most at home with is delayed gratification. I would work in 4-year increments for an opportunity at goal. Just an opportunity. Each phase of training and competition, just another puzzle piece in this masterpiece I had hoped to create. At times, it felt overwhelming, arduous, flat out like it was just taking too long or it was never going to happen. But like the famous French poet once said, nothing is more powerful than an idea whose time has come. So be patient and know none of the work that you have done or continue to do will go in vain. Your next gold medal moment is just around the corner. There you have it. You are now officially ready to transition like a champ. If you love this series, please don't forget to comment and share with a friend.
Wonderful stuff there from Olympian Sanya Richards-Ross, who's also the sister of the Yardie CEO, Dwayne Richards. We will now have that wonderful run by the Pocket Rocket, Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, and the monumental work she did on the track just a few weeks ago in now becoming the fastest woman alive.
Shelly Ann Fraser-Price as expected out quickly. Natasha Morrison trying to chase Shelly Ann Fraser-Price away and clear. Look at that! 10.64 for Shelly Ann Fraser-Price. Positive 1.3 meters per second. The wind speed, it is legal. It is a Jamaican record. 10.64. Only one woman has run faster than that in the history of the sport. Adjusted to 10.63 seconds.
I'm not a coach. I'm just a fan of athletics, but I think everything was perfect about that race. Vilma, you can back me up there. Everything was perfect about that race.
Shelly Ann Fraser-Price as expected out quickly. Natasha Morrison trying to chase Shelly Ann Fraser-Price away and clear. Look at that! adjusted to 10.63 seconds.
Man, look at God. That's all I can say. Look at God, you know. Delay is not denial. Honestly, that's a big, big, big testimony for me. And this morning, and first I thought I was running first, and then I heard that it was 200 first. So, you know, I was just staying calm and making sure that I had this good run before the national championship because I don't have any more races before that. And I was just looking forward to putting in a solid race, technique, and getting everything, you know, together before I get to the national championship. So in terms of the 10-6, I really wasn't looking for 10-6, to be honest. And I think that was probably a good thing because I was just focused on executing. And my coach has always said, once I execute, he knows, you know, I'll do well.
Yeah. What have you been doing over the last few weeks to get you up to this level?
I've been doing some crazy training, you know, coach, and I have been working very hard, especially on endurance, because, you know, there's still work to be done, especially in the last 20 meters. So I'm really working on that. I'm working on just my technique overall, staying composed in any competition, no matter who I line up against. So it's just been good, and I'm grateful that we're able to get this run. Really excited.
This is, of course, the Olympic year. Of course, you have 2 titles already. Are you still hungry, Shelly?
Well, the 10-6 should tell you that I'm hungry. I've been training really hard, and I'm just glad that I was able to do it.
After Carl Robinson, Ludlow Watson, the presentation party of the GOA James Fraser Olympic Destiny event, Women's 100, a new record, national record that is, for Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause once again. Mommy Rocket, Pocket Rocket, Mrs. Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce, a truly monumental feat. We now bring back to the podium one of the long-standing sponsors of Yardie Sports. We now bring Alison Dexter, the marketing manager at CARMED, to introduce our honoree, Alia Atkinson.
You know you have to adjust the mic from here, right? Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be here as we honor Alia Atkinson. I don't have the range of Celia, but I'm going to try and do the excitement like how she would do it. You hear? Undoubtedly Jamaica's finest swimmer ever, Alia Atkinson competed in her first Olympic Games for Jamaica in 2004 in the 50 meters freestyle and the 100 meters breaststroke at just 16 years old. 4 years later, in the 2008 Olympics, she had a best place finish of 25th in the women's 200 meters breaststroke. As her stocks rose as a national representative, Atkinson was chosen to carry the flag for Jamaica at the opening ceremony of the 2007 Pan American Games in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, where she set the Jamaican record in the 100 meters butterfly. She also donned the colors at the 2006 and the 2010 Commonwealth Games without medaling. At the collegiate level, Atkinson placed first in the 200 yards breaststroke at the 2010 NCAA Championship Swimming for Texas A&M. Atkinson dramatically qualified for the 2012 Olympics 100 meters women's breaststroke final when she defeated Canadian rival Tara Van Meelen in a head-to-head race for the final position. She subsequently placed fourth in the final finishing with a time of 1.06.93 seconds and just missed out on a medal. A graduate of Bath Prep School, Atkinson had her greatest triumph in the pool when she won the 100 meters breaststroke at the 2014 Short Course World Championship in Doha, equaling record set by Ruta 2013 and black woman to win a world women title. I think that deserves a round of applause. Yes, yes. That year, she also won 2 medals at the 2014 Commonwealth Games, silver in the 50 meters breaststroke and bronze in the 100. While achieving that feat, she also set 2 Commonwealth Game records in the heats and semifinals, this in the 50 meters breaststroke. At the 2016 Summer Olympics, with a lot of expectations on her shoulders, she reached the finals of the 100-meter breaststroke but failed to win the elusive Olympic medal. Atkinson has been coached by Chris Anderson since 2000, and she trains with the South Florida Aquatic Club swim team, which is managed by her coach, which whenever she's in this hemisphere. That's interesting. In 2019, Atkinson represented Team Ion at the International Swimming League. She was a valuable member of the team, winning the 50 meters breaststroke in all 3 matches the team competed in, and she also picked up 2 wins and won a 2nd place finish in the 100-meter breaststroke. Atkinson will be journeying to her 5th Olympics in Tokyo, Japan next month, still searching for her first medal at the greatest show on earth. And of course, her manager is with us today. Her country manager, Karen Smith, is with us today. And Karen just wanted to put things in perspective with the women, yeah? Alia's drive started with her wanting to beat the boys and her brother. Women rule again, yes. It is not widely known that several of Alia's national records are the fastest for both male and female times. Of course, I think they only call the female, but the fastest male and female times. So, on behalf of Yardie Sports, Alia, we salute you today.
On our conversational speech with women and their impact in sport, especially at the Olympics, coming from the first century that we started with Olympics being in Greece, Athens, we have seen females just excel and excel when they first were allowed to compete in Olympics, when we had less than 5 or 10 events at the Olympics, and now we are able to be represented in almost every sport at the Olympics. It's truly fantastic just to see how far we've come. Females, in themselves, we are a strong breed. We go through so much with just life and motherhood and being the symbol of hope and peace for so many. And it's great to have the Olympics to showcase our strong side as well, our passionate and our brave side, and to show what we can do in any sport. It's truly fantastic to see females being represented in all sports, all across the nations, with BMX and golf and Formula 1. Like the sports that we didn't expect females to rise in. But just like Jamaica was small but with Talawa, same thing with Jamaicans and females. We go where we don't expect, we go where people think the lesser of us, and we rise. And that's what we continue to do as females. So today for this conference, I really want to inspire you guys to rise. No matter what obstacle is in front of you, no matter what challenge it is based on your gender, your age, your social economic status, or anything you think may be an obstacle. Today I challenge you to rise. Have a good day.
And so now I'll invite Karen Smith, country manager for Alia Atkinson, or honoree for the Yardie Sports Women in Sports Conference for 2021. Again, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Alia Atkinson and, of course, Karen Smith.
you look at her body of work, what she's done, it's unrivaled. And I think it's important that we recognize her while she's still representing the country. And that's after. And that's why we decided this year that she would be the honoree. Unfortunately, and we obviously knew that she would be here, but we have a long-standing friend with Karen, and she's representing her. Let me just ask. Alia and I both went to that. Not at the same time. So yeah, there's a real soft spot there for her. But if you know Alia, you know that she's a real darling. When they call her the darling of the pool, she's darling in the pool and out the pool. So we have to really recognize what she's done, and all of us need to pray for her and swim with her and hope that she get an elusive Olympic medal this year. It doesn't matter the color, we just want it, right? We just want it. Okay, thanks, Karen.
Absolutely amazing. I feel like I would do a breaststroke right now. Are we ready? Do we know? Let's go. After 3. 1, 2, 3. Karen, are we doing it right? We're doing a breaststroke because yes, this is our honoree. We're swimming. So, okay, maybe you can come right here and show us how to do the breaststroke.
Yes, so
ready?
Yes. So you go out.
Yeah. Oh, you make sure you go from the breast. It's called a breaststroke.
Right.
Ready?
So you go out and pull, and your head has to come up.
And breathe.
Yes. And then you have your legs going, but
and
you
the
just,
legs
yes.
should be.
No. The legs are also the problem.
Oh, is the leg
just like the arm?
You see, I'm no swimmer.
Just like the arm.
Oh, just like the arm. So the leg and the head go.
And you come up and breathe. And you put your head down and push. Yes, it's a very technical style.
Karen, it looked like me drowned a little while, I swear. So here comes Alia's thank you.
Thank you so much for this award from Yardie Sports. I really appreciate the nomination and winning the award. I truly feel blessed each and every day that I'm out doing what I can do in the sport of swimming and just trying to be me and making Jamaica be as popular as it can in the sport of swimming and trying to get as many swimmers on board and trying to promote water safety and water awareness throughout the Caribbean.
Amazing. Again, put your hands together for the 2021 honoree for the Yardie Sports Women in Sport. I'm just getting goose pimples because I don't know if I water cool or what. I don't know. So let us move right along on the program, ladies and gentlemen. So we're at the stage where we're at other presentations, and heading that list is a young lady who we heard Alia say it earlier, Little But Talawa. We're talking about Dr. Olivia Rose right now. She's a sports psychologist. She's the first, let me repeat, the first appointed sports psychologist at UWI Mona. She is a part-time lecturer at UTech, Likwa Talawa, co-author of ABCs of Caribbean Sport, Marketing and Psychology. What was it, Likwa Talawa? She's an artist, and by that I don't mean that she's a DJ or a singer. I mean that she draws very well. And so you should all get a piece, and I'm sure she'll give you a discount. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Dr. Olivia Rose, sports psychologist, coming now to speak on mental health and sports. It does not have a look.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm wondering if my presentation is ready, but these things happen all the time. So let me, thank you very much. All right. Any music ready for me? All right. So the good thing is the phone works. And really and truly, I wanted you to see some images because of what I am presenting on, which is mental illness does not have a look, especially in sport. And there would be some images being presented where you would look on these people and determine if they look like they have a mental illness. But is that happening? Am I to just go along, or it will happen eventually? Okay, all right. So see, I don't want to talk too much into the presentation and then it happens, but these things happen. So I'll just continue. So the first image I had was an image of Halle Berry. So it's non-sport related, warm up. That's the sport part of it. So for those of you who know or have the image of Halle Berry in your heads, you know that Halle Berry, if we're thinking about depression, it's lovely, awesome. Can I, oh, my, take out so far. All right, so we have next slide, please. Thank you. All right. A point of the LD. Next slide. The next slide, please. Is there a point so that I could just go to the other? Okay, thank you very much. So we all know who Robin Williams was, and what happened. And if you don't know, he committed suicide, and he was the famous actor in Mrs. Doubtfire, right? And this image, you would never look on this image right here, right now, and determine that he, well, one, was suffering from depression, and two, would have committed suicide. All right? I don't want to dampen the mood, so we're going to be vibrant while understanding mental health. Next slide, please. All right, so that's the beautiful Halle Berry there, and she also suffered from depression and almost attempted suicide, but then she remembered the hard work of her mom. That's what this is saying. Next slide. Thank you. Thanks. All right, so elite athletes need to be routinely screened for mental health symptoms. What are your thoughts on that? So for me, well, let me just reference where this is coming from. This was one of the key findings in an Origin survey of 749 elite Australian athletes, where 1 in every 5 reported struggling with depression. Next slide, please. So before we even go to the famous Michael Phelps here, what the previous slide was saying is that in the same way that we do physical checks for athletes, we need to also do mental screening because of the myriad of things that they have to deal with on a daily basis. Next slide, please. Thank you. All right, so we also know here the story of Michael Phelps, where he also suffered from depression, and subsequent to retiring has now created a foundation to help children and to help in bringing about mental awareness. Thank you. And of course, Serena Williams. And going further from Serena, even after she had her child Olympia, she noted or expressed feeling postpartum depression following the birth of her child. So these are real people with real issues. Next slide, thank you. All right, so I want you to just pause right here, because this is really the essence of my presentation. Athletes are humans too. And many times, I've been asked that so many times since the past decade if I think athletes are humans. And sometimes I think it's out of ignorance that people ask that question, but sometimes it's really genuine, whereby because of their extraordinary talents, we seem to forget that they do experience a wide range of human emotions. And as was expressed earlier by Ms. Day, you know, you're going on the road and you probably want to just be yourself and you are not allowed to be yourself, and it's a lot of pressure. And yes, people may say that this is what they signed up for and they should know and this is how they are being paid, but they are humans too that deserve human breaks as well. And they also have a host of emotions and responsibilities dealing with, which I will mention later on. Next slide, please. All right, so as we know, of course, Naomi Osaka isn't the only elite athlete who would have been presented with mental health issues and concerns, so much so that she was willing to pay the fine of $15,000 not to talk to the media. Now, that created a lot of backlash, from criticisms to support, and you may be in here with your own reservations regarding her decision. But what this is saying is that athletes experience mental health issues and these need to be taken very seriously. Also, these are sometimes to the onlooker perceived as subjective, and there are standardized ways to measure it. That is why they can see clinical psychologists, sports psychologists, and so on afterwards. But mental health is important, and depression is real, just in the same way that you would get a physical injury and you make sure that it is taken care of. It's the same way I'm urging athletes and women on a whole, especially at a conference like this where we bear so much all the time, to definitely check on your mental health. Next slide, thank you. All right, so again, being a conference about women in sport, even though this data is from 2016, it clearly suggests that there is a greater prevalence of women experiencing depressive symptoms by sport and gender. Okay? And the sport here, we do not do lacrosse we do lacrosse, but the major sport that we consider here locally include track and field, football, netball, volleyball, cricket. I hope I'm not missing something, but lacrosse is not one of the big ones, okay? So the point is, in all of them here, as you can see, the red indicates that women experience there's a greater prevalence of depressive symptoms experienced by women, okay? And even though this data is not generated here, this is from NCAA Division I athletes, we can still draw some reference from what happens in a space like this, or what is likely to happen in a space like this. And that's why further research also is encouraged. Next, please. All right, so why athletes often do not seek help for mental health issues? I think I want to just highlight one here in red. They're worried that it will impact playing time and coach and team perceptions. Now, it's okay to, and it's embraced to go and get help when you're physically injured, but if you are experiencing mental health issues, it's less likely for the athlete to seek this kind of help because it makes them come off as weak, not strong, and then you need mentally tough people to go out there and compete. So it may also have debilitating effects on even team selection. So you don't want your coach to think that you're not strong or you're not coping, because then you may not be selected. So these are some of the reasons why athletes sometimes do not seek help when it is very much needed. And again, they don't want to appear as being weak, or it's embarrassing sometimes. And again, it's just based on the stigma that we have here in particular. And I said here and emphasize here, meaning Jamaica and the English-speaking Caribbean. Next, thank you. All right, so there are various signs. I'm not going to go through all of them. Just some of them include feeling overly worried, feeling sad, empty, hopeless, worthless, sensitivity to sound and sight, smell, irritability, restlessness, loss of interest in activities, etc. And next slide, coaches are trained to screen initially and to observe some of these symptoms, but they are not trained to treat, right? So some of the stressors that can lead to mental health issues if they're not handled properly and early for athletes include time demands, athletic performance, especially the performance narrative that is usually emphasized, whereby the athletes must perform to win. No sponsor, no coach, no team wants an athlete that's not performing. So the performance narrative is that you are supposed to win. So that can also impact how you internalize that and add to the pressure and all of the different concerns that you may have, which may unfortunately impact your performance, and then that causes even further worry and frustration. I didn't even include in this one the restrictions now placed on athletes, especially given the fact that sport is a high-paced environment. Whether you're an administrator, whether you're an athlete, we are not used to staying inside. This is not the norm, and having to adjust to that, even if you would observe the MC when she was trying to get us to warm up and to do the swimming technique, that's because her mind is outside. So we are not programmed to really be in this space. Now, other professions can make that adjustment. For us, it's very different and difficult, especially staying in one location for an extended period. And especially those elite athletes who travel for a living and the support team with them. This is unusual, and this is a lot of adjustment mentally that you have to make. So anything that you are experiencing now, including the media, because the media would be up and about, out in the sun, etc., and so on, it's not the same. So whatever you think you're experiencing, just quadruple that, and you'll probably get a tiny idea as to what an athlete may be experiencing now. And of course, there is injury and return from injury that they have to deal with. The media, which is why, again, Osaka decided, listen, I would rather not speak because I need help to go through what I'm going through. And this is private, and we know the importance of the media in sport, the role the media plays. Sometimes, again, the sport entertainment that some people can get from it, but remember, these are humans as well. That's the critical point. Fertility concerns and career decisions, I can't skip over that one, especially given that this is a women's conference. That's a real concern and a real matter in sport that women experience, and these can lead to depressive symptoms, or you not being able to cope with the demands of the job because the job requires you to be on the go all the time and so on, and then you have to make certain critical decisions. So again, financial concerns, yes, we know that the men provide as well, but women, especially women athletes and elite athletes, they do play a huge role in providing for families and for other persons. All right, so what can coaches do? Well, encourage positive self-talk, that's important. Create a supportive team, and even us being in here, that's part of where the support starts. And model a positive attitude, praise performance, effort, and outcome, especially the effort part, because sometimes the outcome may not be as you expected. Make referrals when necessary. And your job is to recognize and refer, not to solve, and that's very, very critical. And my colleague, Mr. Richards, in a different capacity, would know, because we would have worked together, that your duty is to refer, which he did, And it is a partnership between the sports psychologist and the coach so that we can provide the best support to the athlete. Next. And this is the end of the presentation. How do we go about increasing awareness and breaking the stigma of mental illness in sport? First, it starts really with the athlete, because especially elite athletes owning the fact that they go through and experience these things and have sought help, and it doesn't mean that they are weak, right? And then we have the microsystems in place where we have the parents, the coaches, relatives, friends, the high performance centers, sports medicine staff, and support staff, right? And then we have the exosystem, which is based on the individual sport, because each sport is different, and the pressures and the stress and the training demands may be different for each sport. And at the macro level, what support systems are we putting in place on the national level, at the association levels, and so on, and a policy level, and of course through public and social media. And I close with this quote by Marty Fish, which says, to show weakness, we are told, in so many words, is to deserve shame. But I am here to show weakness, and I am not ashamed. Thank you.
Don't leave yet, Dr. Rose. We'll have a presentation by Mr. Richards, once again, to Dr. Rose. Let me scoot over.
In another life, I coached football. Women, yeah. And it wasn't easy. And when Olivia started working with the university, she helped to make my job easier because she could speak to them in a way that I couldn't. And so when the issue came up with Naomi, and it split the local media, I'm in a group, and the response by the men especially was completely different. It had like 50% agreed with what Naomi was saying, and the other 50% was saying she needs to suck it up. So when I saw that response, I was like, this needs to be addressed at the conference. And I called Olivia and I said to her, can you come and present at the conference? And she said, yes, she'd prefer to do that and not deal with it on an individual basis because people just don't seem to understand. And it's last week, no, ask her. I could only do that because we share the same birthday and we share the same vision and passion, So I'd like to say thank you very much for making this extra effort to be here. We really appreciate it, and continue to do what you're doing because it's very, very important in the world of sport. Thank you very much.
We now move into a presentation by Mrs. Colette Price, who we can describe as a career educator. She's currently the principal at St. Jago High School, leaving her footprints, but she has also left her footprint at Jamaica College, Tarrant, and Jose Marti. Without further ado, we now bring Mrs. Price to the podium. Don't think I have to adjust the mic.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. And I'm going to get right into my presentation. I hope that can be found. First, I want to thank Mr. Richards for inviting me to be here this morning and to congratulate him on. Right. No, I don't. To congratulate him on the second edition of Women in Sports Conference, and it has truly been inspirational so far. And I just want you to know, Dwayne, I seize the opportunities, and most of this will be added to our curriculum at San Diego High School starting tomorrow. So the topic is excellence through nurturing the San Diego High School experience. And let me tell you something, everyone. Sinandra and Taki and everywhere else, that being at San Diego is truly an experience. I got home 5 years ago, and I'm living my best life. And, there's no place. At JC, Tarrant, Jose Marti, there's no place I'd rather be but at St. Diego High School at this point in my life. So today I'll share with you the key ingredients that have contributed to the success of St. Diego High School in nurturing what we're going to be framing the student athlete through the creation of a safe space. There's a shared vision. We have a broad-based curriculum. Ms. Charlton, PE, we are huge on that. And exemplary leadership. So I'm going to be defining the student athlete. The student athlete is simply defined as an individual who is able to balance the rigors of the academics alongside participation in sports. The ultimate outcome is to be equipped with the tools necessary for tertiary education or the world of work at the end of their tenure at San Diego High School. So you've gone to my screen. We are the third oldest high school in Jamaica, and we're a traditional high school affiliated with the Diocese of Jamaica, and we're a co-educational institution, and we're located in historic Spanish Town. The school is led and managed by, the next slide please, the school is led and managed by an administration that is all female, including our chairman. And I'm going to put the disclaimer here that we aren't women in sports. That's another conference, Women in Education. But there's a commonality that all these women share that impacts sports and our success at St. Diego. It's 90% motivation and maybe 10% of the other things. All those ladies there are past students of St. Diego High School. And so you can imagine the passion. We are the opportunity seeking to make St. Diego better. And alongside that, our students are coming out of rural St. Catherine, right? Our demography. So they're coming from across the bridge. We boast two Rhodes Scholars who are also from across the bridge. So Linstead, Bogwalk, Yorton, Harkazal, Gibraltar, Loidersville, Riversdale, and on the other side now Point Hill, Browns Hall, Kitson Town. That's the majority of our students are from those places. So what do you get with that? You have students from very humble beginnings who are ambitious, who have a goal, who know that education is their way out. So they come into St. Diego, education first, and then they will pick up co-curricular activities, but they know that this is their passport to creating a better life for themselves
and their families. So, in that passion, in that love for alma mater, and we strengthen our students the very minute they come in with that sense of belonging, that love, that passion. And so a family atmosphere is created right out, and we go far and beyond for inclusive our school. Shared vision. Everyone understands from orientation into St. Diego High School, the staff, the students, parents, the coaches, they understand the mission of our school, which is to create opportunities to develop fully rounded students. So we participate in everything under the sun in terms of co-curricular activities, and I will get into that further on when I speak of the curriculum. But our vision, and I know we're already there now because we won champs. We've been winning champs, right? Okay, see, men, we've been winning champs. Co-educational, we are always, for years now, we've been in the top 5, both male and female. And so our vision is to be ranked among the top 5 schools in Jamaica in academics, number 1, sports, the performing arts, and in student conduct and decorum. So our selling point, we don't have a track, we don't have feeding program, we don't have this and that, all the ingredients these days, boarding facility and all of that. So our selling point is that the student who enters St. Diego is guaranteed an education. The student comes in and is able to explore afterwards, they explore their involvement in co-curricular activities and sports. Once they enter, there's a huge sign, excellent, shaping lives and for excellence and greatness since 1744. The student athlete is not contracted, and our student athlete, the coaches, the teachers, the parents, again, they know and they agree that it is student first, then athlete. Therefore, as principal, for me, there's a moral obligation to ensure that programs are developed that will balance their involvement in both academics and the sports. And I'll give you an insight into our programs. But it's not all a bed of roses. There are disclaimers, as you know, many transfer out. And I can tell you, if you do your research, those who transfer out, they have issues with balancing student academics first with everything else that comes thereafter. As well as their student athletes who recognize, and I want to highlight one of the poster girls on this year's championship souvenir booklets, Miss Joanne Reed. Joanne could have left us from 5th form. She got a scholarship then. But she stayed on because of the nurturing, because of her ambitions to develop more in terms of a very astute young lady, to develop more in terms of her academics. And so she held off until she could get all she needed to really market herself. And now she has a full scholarship to the University of Arkansas. So the rich legacy, we also have a very rich legacy in sports, which includes many women. And so as I said, motivation, when our students come in, they are motivated. They want to reach greater heights because, they're walking the same corridors as one. And I have to include our men. We can't do without them. Bertrand Cameron, Johan Blake, Nicole Ashmead, Rika Hilton, Marvin Anderson, Markina Buckley. And then there are ladies, Delorine Ennis London, Kenya Sinclair, Andrea Bliss, Corinne Hines, Michelle Freeman, Michelle Berger, Melanie Walker, Karen Stewart, Olivia McCoy, Gillette Campbell. Anjanette Knight, Natalia White, Tisana Hicklin, football, Khadija Bunny Shaw, Miss Stephanie Daly Singh, another aspect of sporting, you know, referee, FIFA referee. We won champs. We dominated from 1996 to 1999, girls champs, boys champs 83 and 87. And so there's an inner drive, you know, a passion, a love that we always want to do better. The next ingredient that we use to nurture a student athlete is our curriculum. Our curriculum is broad-based and is complemented. As I said, we participate in everything under the sun. It's complemented with over 40 clubs and societies and sports. Child comes into St. Jago, it's mandatory. There is something for you to do outside of the academics. We offer 25 of the 29 CSEC subjects, 30 of the 35 CAPE subjects, and our capacity is 1,200 students. We are hosting 1,600 plus students. And with all these subject offerings, it is a challenge, but we stick to our mission. But I want to focus on PE and how important PE and sports is to us. It's offered from first to form, and uniquely St. Jago, I don't know how many other schools offer PE straight to fifth form, whether you are doing it in CXC or not. And the students totally enjoy the experience, and we see them launching out into the sporting arena. In fact, one child was just picked up in PE class and was sent to do the heptathlon at Champs. And actually, Martin Manley, he came in as an academic student, and he was discovered through PE class and got into athletics. Another significant point is that all the subjects we offer at CSEC, the students are exposed to them from first through to third form. And so even for those who came in to be athletes, they are exposed to a wide range of subjects. So it's very easy for them to select subjects for their career path when they get to fourth form. And we find that this by setting the foundation early, they are able, it's quite easy for them, and equity is created. And this structure allows a student athlete to learn very early how to keep up with the rigors of balancing the academics with co-curricular, with sports, and it is boosted by a school culture. School culture is very important, one that embraces and encourages and loves rather than to stigmatize our students. But there will be issues. It's not all perfect. With the competitors out there, you know, we find that since I've been there 5 years now, and we had to be compromising in that we are now taking in students who are really below our academic standard. And my first obligation is to ensure that these students meet the requirement of matriculating for work and for college. And so what we've done, and I'm just going to share with you briefly an action research that we're now conducting. St. Jago has tried it before. It is tested and proven, and we have gone back to that. And that is, in 2019, we recognized that there were some students who didn't meet the requirements, and so we started the action research by offering them fewer subjects than they would normally do in first form. A typical first form student is doing up to 16 subjects. And we wanted to increase their competency in literacy and in numeracy. And so as a result of that, we wanted them to have more time in these subjects. And so we cut their curriculum, and we are offering them PE, visual arts, things that they can do with their hands, IT, drama. We are huge on the performing arts. So when you see our students articulating at Champs, I got a lot of compliments for that. It's because they're exposed to drama, to dance, and it builds their confidence, and they're able to present well. And so these children, they're doing less subjects. For some of the subjects, they integrate with the other students to do them. And it's our hope that by third form, they will be ready to integrate with the rest of the school into fourth form with the subjects that they'll be doing. So they do all the subjects that will meet NCAA criteria, but we just want them to concentrate on those. So far, so good. They have exceeded our expectations, and we see where we could integrate them with the remainder of the school already. So that's a program that we're really very proud of. In terms of their student mentoring, through the Dean of Student Academic Affairs, we look at the older students who are doing very well, and we look at those students, all our students. Sometimes the student athlete falls in this category. We look at where their shortfalls are, and we assign them an academic mentor. The mentors, in turn, interact with the subject teachers, and they track the progress of their mentees, and they also interact with the coaches so that they can give them an idea of how the students are progressing academically. We also beg our coaches, yes, beg, but they buy into the vision of allowing some of these students in track and field who may be falling behind in their work just 2 days a week, 2 evenings, to turn up late for training so that they can get some of the homework in, or if they're able to, they come very early in the morning to meet with their mentors. So that has been going very well, and we are proud of that. And then there are peer counselors, because holistic DACA, we want to look at the mental, we want to look at the conduct of the students, their social and if there are behavioral challenges, so they are trained by the counselors, and by just moving around the students, they are able to identify and to do the necessary intervention. So, generally speaking, we find that sports is such a powerful discipline that totally integrates into everything else that the students do to develop that love for the academics, to develop all the skills needed to balance both and to do very well at it. And finally, final slide please. Team St. Diego leading by example. And I never know that when it's inter-house competition that it was taken so seriously until I went to St. School. Our teachers are highly competitive. And so the first year I was there, and I really want to big up our sports master, Mrs. Hawthorne, the professional approach that is taken towards sports at St. Diego. They invited me, big invitation to this press launch. And my first year college prize dressed to puss foot, because Yardie, I was expecting you to come and cover this thing, And what I realized, it was just an internal thing, but so many skills were brought out from this press launch, because it's the students who really, the athletes who were really responsible for the program. And professionally executed, and they had to represent their houses in terms of presenting manifestos, and the whole grouping, the PE class, the student athlete, they would be involved in preparing and the presentation of the manifesto. And I think that was just awesome. Again, it has helped in their public speaking skills and delivery. Then over there, that's Olympics coming soon. Staff comes together. There are two bets: Olympics for the males, for the females, and Olympics for the males. And there's a draw, and there's the black team, and there's the red team. And we participate, female, we participate in netball, tug-of-war, skipping, volleyball, planking, hula hoop. That's my event. And I got most improved in that since I've been at St. Diego. And it's further motivation for students to want to be a part of sports in our institution. they're able to see us professionals. That's me. You see me over there? Yes, that's me right here. They're able to see, us professionals, dressed down and getting down and participating. And they're really excited by this. And I mean, they stay back after school just to watch the competition. And it really helps, our students when they represent our school outside. Teaches them team building, time management skills, the camaraderie that we achieve by just competing against each other, exemplary sportsmanship in that arena. So generally speaking, the St. Jago experience is holistic and it is supportive by nature. There's a role for everyone involved. And for my colleagues, other schools out there, I just want to encourage you to look at your school, at your best practices, the assets that you have, so that you too can nurture and facilitate your students to be more involved. We've heard about all the benefits of sports this morning through this conference. It's about changing lives. And, I have I'm a St. Jago past student. I have long legs. I never participated in sports, Mrs. Charlton, because of the stigma that was attached to it. But, I am just happy that we're able to encourage, to motivate, and support our students, our student athletes, that they can also be professionals as well as sportsmen. And I'm going to leave with a little video, testimonial from past and current students. It's not long, please bear with me, to show you that the St. Jago High School experience is just undeniably one of the best practices in Jamaica. Thank you for listening. Can we use the mic over there? I think it was low.
So hopefully we'll sort that out for a little later. But in the meantime, we'll have Antonio Bell, my co-host, to present to Mrs. Colette Furtado Price, Principal of St. Jago. What a presentation, ladies and gentlemen.
My brother was an athlete.
Another round of applause for our Principal of St. Jago, Mrs. Colette Furtado Price. Oh, a photograph. So they will try and sort that out as we go ahead, okay? So our next presenter is Mrs. Tamara Williams-Gale, coach at track and field coach at Oberlin High School. Coaching females, it's not as easy as it looks. So one athlete would have said, Mrs. Williams-Gale has helped with confidence, believes in ability or in the ability of her athletes, and went on to say that she is a second mother. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mrs. Tamara Williams-Gale, track and field coach at Oberlin. And I'm going to just test her a little bit. So you will raise your hand if you are, so this came from Dr. Liv's presentation. What can coaches do? And if you are doing it, raise your hand. I didn't bring my Bible, so I can't have you sure that you won't lie. All right? Encourage positive talk. If that's true, raise your hand. Create a supportive team. Model a positive attitude. She opened her eye wide, yes. Praise performance, effort, and outcome. Make referrals when necessary. Okay. Who you refer? You referred Doc. Okay, you referred her. Oh, not her. Okay. Who?
Actually, I never come across any case like that.
No, but who did you say you refer when necessary? Who did you refer?
My manager, to have a second talk to see if that child needed further.
Okay, all right, just to make sure. And your job is to recognize and refer, not solve. Amen. Praise. Ladies and gentlemen, clap her one more time.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, I have to be very careful, because there's a lot of Olympians in the house. I went as far as boys and girls champs, but it's a big deal in Jamaica, right? And of course, I ran at the Gibson Relays. Yes. So it's a privilege to be here. This is quite an interesting topic to be sharing as a female coach. And my journey thus far, coaching female athletes from the grassroots up. By no means does this topic mean it's impossible to coach females, but it can be a very challenging one. Therefore, if any coach intends to be successful coaching females, they must fully understand how a female operates. Their emotional dynamics, of course, Miss Charlton spoke about that. Characters, personality, what motivates them, and how to keep them in a zone of motivation so as to achieve the best outcomes. Their anatomy, development through different stages of puberty, windows of training that seize the moment to target different biomotor abilities. Their psychological transformations, adaptations that they experience as a result of types of training. Among these challenges are increasing, of course, muscle volume, tone, density, that gives the athletic look. Back in high school, when I used to go to training, the students would be like, "And a calf that a cow. She toughy. Oh, she look like man so." I would in return, "I'm not tough, me tough, I'm firm. Deep down inside, I was hurting." From the perspective of a coach, coaching females, the event I specialize in, javelin, shot put, discus, it is simply magical. When you're teaching the skills, it gives you the edge to develop athletes that had no knowledge of their abilities in anything else other than running. You know, once we roll out to training, everybody a sprinter, right? Yeah. Our success many times relies on those who are forced to retire early from their first love, whether by the curse of puberty that transforms the body, manipulating body mass index, from a coach's perspective, changing somatotype, and we talk about the body, different body types, where we talk about the endomorphin, the ecto, and the mesomorphin, which, well, I'm just hoping that we know what that means, the different body type. Where we say meso, we talk about the muscle tones. When we talk about ecto, we're talking about the long distance persons, right? Endurance, full of endurance. The endo, which normally that body types gravitate to throwing and so forth, because they are the big ones, right? So our success many times it lies on those who are forced to retire early from their first love, whether by the curse of puberty, I just said that, which is the BMI. Of course, a lot of females go through that. I have many experience. When I was at Very Technical High School, this particular athlete, she was a great quarter miler, but when we looked at her body type, we actually realized that, you know, sooner or later we have to actually put her over into something else that will work for her body type. So the changing are simply tired of logging behind, oftentimes in training sessions, despite repeatedly giving their utmost best. Their lengthy delays in denial finally comes to a stop, where they say their final goodbyes. To the sprints, to try something new, and most times finding that they're better at it, right? From the coach's perspective again, the female athlete's relationship differs between male and female coaches. While their objectives might be the same, the responses to both genders varies. The male coach may be viewed as someone who is equally objective as the female coach, but tends to more objective without considering certain details. And I'm sure that the female can speak about that. You're more comfortable relating something, you know, of your body to a female coach rather than, and then it all varies, because sometimes you do have some male coach who understands how the body operates of a female. A few of them, yes. The female coach can be seen as someone that understands and is more nurturing. She has the advantage because she has the similar experience as the female athlete. This, however, does not determine the outcome where history is concerned. Because you can, whether you're male or female, you can have great outcome with an athlete in terms of performance-wise. The challenges can be many as the athlete's temperament determines the approach of coach-athlete relationship. It can be mentally demanding as well as productive, as some athletes displays different attitude towards setting goals and committing to the work needed to succeed. The opportunities are endless. As the sport evolves, females are making waves, rising their levels in human performance across several sports, and we are seeing that today. I mean, we have been seeing it quite a while now. The need for continuity is essential because coaching females is a specialized science, and the more we push the envelope, certainly it creates opportunities to discover even more. Do we agree? This is the end of my presentation.
One of the rare meets, and someone asked me to look at these pictures, and you see her athletes, how they reacted to one of their teammates doing a personal best. The love that they have for each other is remarkable, and I love that I was able to capture the moment. Yeah, so this was the 2000 and, what was this one, 18? Yeah, 2018 Ben Francis Invitational. I was fortunate to cover Shatoya there. These are special athletes, I've gotten to know them. She's a top high jumper now. And she came second at champs. Shatoya again. Now this is when Shatoya got her personal best. And the response of her teammates to this was just phenomenal. And I was happy that I kept shooting. That's how I am. I kept shooting, and when you see teammates respond to their teammates' success, it's just remarkable. And then here comes Marie. Marie Forbes is away on scholarship now, and she's doing really, really well. And I think that Marie is one for the future in terms of Jamaica and discus. I expect her to do something really, really well. And I don't know, Mickey don't know, but I adopted Marie. Between me and Tamara, we adopt Marie, and we work on her mentally, work on her, and we still talk to her, even though she's overseas, working on her to ensure that she stays in that frame of mind, because in my mind, she's definitely one for the future. And Miss Charlton will be presenting to her later on in her career. Okay, go ahead, Ceylon.
On behalf of Yardie Sports, I present to you a big thank you. I enjoyed your presentation. It was very good. Do you agree, ladies and gentlemen? Give her a round of applause again. Thank you very much. Don't move. I'll invite Alison Dexter to come forward to present a basket, courtesy of Ensure Karamet. Oh, her eyes open wide. She like that. What would we do without our sponsors? Our sponsors are so important. Put your hands together. Ensure. And through Alison, they've been doing a lot for sports here in Jamaica. Thank you so much. Thank you. I know that when I go with my sporting event, I will have no issues when it comes to Ensure and True Juice. I'll invite Antonia Bell to come forward now to introduce our next speaker. We're winding down quite nicely. So we're at our final speaker for the, is it still morning? It's afternoon.
Yes, Dwayne, you said it perfectly. Anchoring this leg of the relay, we have, and what seems to be a common thread and a common theme throughout the conference, is another educator who also happens to be, well, she's a journalist, but also an educator. And without this sort of support group and persons highlighting and operating in this space, almost none of our athletes will cross that hurdle. So I just want to now introduce Ms. Tricia McGowan, who will anchor this leg of the Women in Sports Conference 2021.
Hello, everybody.
And like I just add, ladies and gentlemen, as she stands tall, she was also a 400 meters runner. Go over there and let them see your physique, lady. Only the second female here in Jamaica to be named Sports Journalist of the Year. Please put your hands together. She was the 2020 Sports Journalist. And also, she co-hosted the first female sports talk show on Hits, which she did invite me to, and I was happy for that. Again, yeah, I'm always nervous. I'm nervous right now. So, yes, I am. Put your hands together one more time, ladies and gentlemen, for Trishana McGowan.
Celia, you know, so all of that never necessary. But thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. How hungry are you? Very hungry? Because you have been here since 10 a.m., right? Some before. So I won't keep you long. I'll make it short and spicy so I can get out the way and we all can go and eat. Do you have food? So therefore, we need to hurry. But good afternoon to Celia, of course, doing a very tremendous job, like you always do. Dwayne, I told you, did I tell you, yes, I'm going to do this? Me did say like, yes. Him just send me some requests and I just started fulfilling them because anything for women, if you know me, I'm going to be a part of it. I'm all about women. I will never belittle a woman, even if she deserves it. Not my style. So I'm happy to be a part of it. So I'm just going to make it short and spicy. So when Dwayne told me I asked him, what is the theme? And he told me what the theme was. So then he said, but I need a topic. So I said, but Dwayne, enough work this year, give me. In a few minutes, I responded by saying, women are the Olympics 2021, and we are. So for years, we all love Usain Bolt. I love good competition, so I always look forward to the Justin Gatlin, Maurice Green, Michael Johnson, and I can go on with a list of men that whenever we're watching the Olympics, we look forward to seeing them because they do so well. But guess what? 2021 at our time, ladies, make a beat with chess at our time, because not just the 10.63 from Shelley and Fraser Price that will have everyone now looking towards the Olympics, which will get underway July 23, but it's the women doing well in the sports, and that's sports all across. And I'm going to get to that because I think that Shelley and Fraser Price, she's ours, so we are excited about that. We have to remember Shakara Richardson, she's running good, and I love good competition. Marie-Josée Talu of the Ivory Coast, Dina Asher-Smith of Great Britain, and I can go on and on. Elaine Thompson-Ero looking to retain her gold medals that she won in 2016. So right away, the women's 100 meters is the talk of the town. And guess what? It's not the men 100 meters that everyone is looking forward to. So at our time, and we're claiming that. So that's one event. Let me move to the next event now. I'm not even going to call name, but I should call name because this is so good. The women's triple jump. If you're following the sport, you understand the women's triple jump. Yulimar Rojas of Venezuela, looking to go for that world record. I don't think she's focused on winning at this point, but she's just so focused. Can I get this world record? She's inching closer and closer for the possibility of that. In that mix of things, guess who doing well? Our Jamaicans, Shanika Ricketts and Kimberly Williams. Why I love that? It's the field events. So can we applaud for that? Because it's the field events and our ladies are doing just as well. Some of them feel well good about that. Danielle Thomas Dodd doing so tremendous in the shot put. Again, we for years, all our focus was on the track. During Burt Cameron days, Herb McKinley, we can go with Grace Jackson. We were so focused on the track events, but our ladies in Jamaica, the women in the sport of track and field, are doing well all around. The cameras are go busy. During the Olympics, the cameras will be busy because on the track is going to really entice, but the field events will also have its highlights. So I told you I'm not going to keep you long, but I want to mention the next event, the 400-meter hurdles. I think it is only right, or if I'm being biased, which I don't think I'm being biased. But we have, when you look at Sydney McLaughlin, the times that she has done, Dalila Muhammad running well, our ladies are doing just as well. Our national trials, which will get underway next week, it's going to be so competitive in that event. The women 100-meter hurdles right here at our national trials going to be so competitive. But guess what? It will be even more competitive at the Olympics, and everybody excited about it, including all of us inside here, because we love the sport. So like I told you at the start, women are the Olympics 2021, and the events, the quality in the field will be showing up to show just that. And I'm excited about it. The men are going to do good enough. Next thing the men, them watching on the YouTube and get nervous and say, oh, if nobody now go watch it, they will be watching for them. But this time around, I think that we are at our peak in the events. Simone Biles will not be taking any hostage in the gymnastics. We also will have a representative in the New Sir Francis. So like I said, we are just right there, Alia in the pool. So we're doing a lot of things. It's not before long, based on what I've seen, with the Jamaica Olympic Association now going around doing talent search for the diving. You soon find a girl diver. So we're doing things. It's our time. And from a media perspective, it makes it so exciting because remember, I'm just going to quote it in layman terms. Sha'Carri Richardson said, as she make people do good in a track and field and I want to run fast time. Like I said, in layman terms. Now, when she used to quote that following Shelley Fraser's 10.63, making her the second fastest woman in history and the fastest woman alive, Sha'Carri is old again, about 21, and look what Sha'Carri is saying. So now the media is buzzing. The media is buzzing with excitement because you never normally find out with the women. You never usually find that trash talking, quote unquote, with the women. We're used to the men and the Americans doing that. But I think, like I said, the women are the Olympics of 2021, and I'm loving it. And also, what will make us also the women of the Olympics? The mothers that will be representing. You've now found that in recent years, our athletes are finding the balance of being mothers while doing sports, and it's whatever sport they're doing. Shelley and Fraser Price, Allyson Felix, Nia Ali, sprint hurdler of America. Some of those mothers we're seeing, they've been on the podiums. They have been on the podiums getting medals. So that too that's a big highlight for this Olympics. It's just watching the mothers competing and the fact that they're found balance, which we know can be tough. So from a media perspective, and I'm sure from your perspective as well, and when we sit and start watching July 23, we're going to be so entertained for so many different reasons. Yes, from the men, but the women will be the highlight of the Olympic Games. And I don't want to leave out nobody, but my favorite athlete is Shawnee Miller-Weber of the Bahamas, right? Now, Shawnee will be doing the 200 meters. I watched her the other day in a 150 meters at the Adidas meet in Boston, and how she looked. Now, imagine when she put all that 400 strength together, all the 200 things together, what can she do among other athletes that will be in the field? We're not saying she's going to win. I would love if she win. But if a Jamaican in there want the Jamaican to win. You see the struggle? That's the struggle and the power of what the women will be about at this Olympics 2021. And I'm looking forward to it from a media perspective. So I'm going to leave you with this because we're all hungry and no food. To whom much is given, much is expected. And guess what? Who better to walk around with that title than women? We continue to do so well at that. To whom much is given, much is expected. We can suffering from period cramps. We can suffer from headache. We just give birth and one next. If our mother have 2 children, one thing that the husband, this the boyfriend. So many responsibilities. And we continue to do what? Do what is expected. And for the Olympics 2021, the women are the Olympics. And quote me on that, the women are the Olympics. The results will show, and I hope everybody will enjoy it, because I will.
Lord, I want to be like you when I grow up, girl. Woo! Yes, I do. Oh, come on over here.
Be like you.
You want to be like me, and I want to be like you. So let us be. All right, go on. Oh, he doesn't want to say anything. So I did say 400 meters, but also 400-meter hurdles as well. Yes, silver for St. Andrew, yes. And she participated in a lot of international meets as well. Wonderful. There we go again. St. Andrew, she went to St. Andrew, not KC, thank you. And a presentation now from True Juice, Carisha Ferguson, Marketing Coordinator. Love your spirit. Beautiful. And
right,
so...
Before you go, you see why she get the last leg for run?
Yeah.
When I select my track team, I understand how I select my track team.
Yes.
I know who can finish. You understand? That was a gold medal finish.
Yes.
And to be honest, you can't argue with what Shoshana said. This one is going to be about the women. It's going to be so competitive, so enthralling, and we have more to look forward to than just the track. For so long it's been just the track. This year we'll be looking at the pool. We'll be looking at the gymnastics as well. And we'll be looking at the field. It's an oversight. I'll call it an oversight. But no, I think you mentioned her, Danielle Thomas Dodd. She has been doing so fantastically well. She's a gold medalist from the Commonwealth Games, the last one. So the range that Jamaica will present at the Olympic Games in terms of the women is going to be very, very fascinating. And that's why we need to ensure that we have year to year a Women in Sports conference to talk about what it is that our females do. Thank you very much, Shoshana.
I was asked on the way in, someone said, "You're Trishana," and I said yes. And they asked why, for what stories or what I did to crop the Sports Journalist of the Year award. I don't know if I'm Monday doing them, I'd ask that. But anyhow, Karen and I have gotten used to that. Karen Madden, that is. So the stories that I entered, Dr. Olivia Rose spoke about one of them, mental health. I did a story on mental health. Christine, and I are close friends, follows me on social media, and I posted it. And I remember when I wanted to do the story, and I had reached out to current athletes, and the hesitation, which is so bad, because a lot of us sit in this room are guilty of making them feel that if they're to speak out about it, they would come across as weak. And I think I want us to move away from that as a culture. They're humans, and I like when a lot of what she presented was also what I highlighted in my story. So that was one of the stories. I also spoke about, I brag and boast differently about athletes and coaches, and Dwayne can attest to that, and Celia, who follows me on social media. I'm a big fan of athletes, and maybe I'm biased, yes I am, but I just think that we are the cat's meow, we are all that. And more because of what we bring to the table. And I think the principal of St. Jago spoke about that. Balancing is important, but when you get a former athlete or you get an athlete to work with or be a part of something, it's magnificent. The level of discipline that we carry, the impact we have on society, I think that we should not take it as lightly as we do. I think, we see the stars in the NBA, the NFL overseas, and how they're highlighted. So many things rest on their shoulders, but they're at the same time they're paid well for that. They're cushioned for that. We need to start doing a lot of that since we have so many expectations of our coaches and our athletes. Now, the second story was Tajay Gale when he won. The impact that had on Augustown. He's from African Gardens down in Augustown, and I went there and I spoke to a lot of the young boys and his family, etc. there, and just the desire and stuff that they wanted from that victory for him. Menstrual cycle, I spoke out, I've championed for that as well. I think more needs to be said. It needs to be talked about. Men have wives, girlfriends, boys in schools like girls having the period. It should not be something we shy away from. It's 2021, get over it. So that was one of my story. And the final story was about the eastern parishes, the struggles they have in terms of the lack of infrastructure and so many other things. I don't think they're supported enough on the eastern side, and I did a story about that. But the mental health was a story that many people, I got so many phone calls, so many messages about that. So I was really happy when I saw Dr. Rose added to Dwayne's outline for the conference. So as women, I think you also said it best. We just need to continue. I think Jacqueline said it best. Support each other, and we're always a force to reckon with, because to whom much is given, much is expected, and it's always the women. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, Trishona McGowan. To the men, what did she say to the men? Woo-hoo. And to the women, to the women, to the women. So we are at Antonio.
We're culminating.
The end, the final. No,
we're at the juncture, because
the
it's
junction, not the end.
Juncture,
That's
yes.
very true. Thank you so much for your correction. It's not the end at all, because we've only just started. It's only 2 years that this young man, Little and Talawa, short, but short of nothing. I remember when he said that he wanted to do the Women in Conference. Go for it. You have nothing to lose. Just go for it. And he went for it last year. And Antonio and I were a part of it. And we're a part of it again for the second year. Are we proud? Not true, sir.
No, it's the thing with Dwayne, Dwayne is the type of friend. He doesn't ask. I just get a phone call like probably 10:30 in the night. Bergie, I'm doing this women in sports conference, so line up yourself.
Sure, line up.
Okay, and then I just keep getting the calls. Okay, I need you to do this. Do this next week.
Yeah.
All right. So do this for me. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. You better obey the boss, right?
That's how the conversations go.
Yes.
And when you see it coming together, and then you see it on the day. That's I have to raise my hats off to him, not only as a friend from prep school, but as
there we go again.
Fortis forever, KC.
There we go.
But I've been having to I've been having to put up with him for so many years.
Yes.
So it's almost just rudimentary now.
Yes.
When he calls, I just have to.
You just better obey.
Yes.
And one of the things when he started Yardie Sports is, well, listen, I think he does more work than all the athletes put together. Because when I'm upstairs and watching, 1 minute he's at discus, the next minute he's over by high jump, then he's by long jump, then he's at the finish line, then he's at the start of the race, then he's across the 200 meter. I don't know how him do it.
And posting.
And the posting.
And posting. In the midst.
And then he runs up the stands and he posts, as you just said, and he sits there and he comes, and from time to time he may come run up the stairs as well into the announcer's box. Him just fit like a fiddle, I'm telling you. Ladies and gentlemen, he's not wearing a purple tie. No, he isn't.
I have something to do with that, and I was very deliberate, because I asked him what color he was wearing today, because normally I have to provide him with the ties, because himself I can't bother choose. So I made sure not to give him a purple tie this morning, because it would be a little overkill. So it would be too much.
All right.
So he can thank me for that.
I'm not going to thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Dwayne Richard, CEO of Yardie Sports.
Yardie Sports.
And, of course, the man who started the Women's in Sports Conference right here in Jamaica. They have an international one that happens every 4 years. You knew that, right? Yes, beautiful. Want to clap him down already? As a matter of fact, you need to give him a stand-up ovation. Yeah. So a stand-up ovation would be nice for Dwayne Richards. Before, during, and after.
Thanks a lot, Celia. 2020, it was a challenge to get people to buy in the vision, because the vision actually didn't start in 2020. It started from about 2018, and 2019, nobody would listen to me. It's like, what are you talking about? And then 2020, I got an audience, meaning sponsors started to understand what it is that I wanted to do, and they came on board. This year was even more challenging because I simply didn't know how to do it. We can't go out. We can't go out. We can't go out. That's all we're hearing. And like Olivia said, we're not made to be inside. So I was going crazy, can't go outside. So what I did from 2019, 2020, coming into 2021, was run. And I got fit. And now I need to go outside. And so now we're back outside. And to be able to do this it's the continuation of the vision. I have a soft spot for the women, obviously. I started coaching from I was at UWI. Did it for about 20 years. And I learned so much. And one of the things that Shoshana spoke about, the menstrual cycle. I remember one day we had a very big game against Harborview. And when I got to Taylor Hall and I stepped in the room, I could just tell something was wrong. Because the girls were living together, their cycle got on the same, and it's like, my first question was, how many of you are seeing a period? 6 of my starters' hands went up. And I knew that we were going to have a bad day. And I just never said nothing. Usually I was shouting after them and blah, blah, blah. I just left them alone because I understood that I did not understand. Because I don't know what you go through. I just know that it's difficult, so I didn't say anything. I just allowed the game to play. But let me get back on point. This conference, I think, is very important. It's important that we understand and we explore what the women bring to the table and highlight it. So thank you especially to all of the presenters. You all reflect the same thing, that passion, that drive, that energy. And I think that's one of the things that we can take away from today. All the presenters delivered on the fact that you need to be persistent. You need to give it your all, and the need for recognition, And so to every one of you, those who are here, those who left, thank you very much for making the time. Everybody got short notice. So if you think it's you alone, no. Everybody got short notice because it was rushed, and we tried to put it together. But even more so the sponsors, because that was really difficult. The time was like, is no you're asking me? Is no I figure it out. I didn't know how to do it, So for people to come back on board, it's thank you. Thank you for those who have come back on board. We have Ensure coming back on board. We have True Juice coming back on board. Sagicor coming back on board. I'm making sure I look so I don't leave out nobody. And there's four people came back. Ensure, Sagicor, True Juice, and the Sports Development Foundation. Those 4 people came back. And then we have 4 people coming on board. And that says to me that the people who are coming on board understand. They understand the vision and they understand the need. Those 4 people who came on board, the J3s, obviously, it's big for them, track and field. This is an Olympic year. And that's the main driver for me, why it had to happen this year. It's an Olympic year, and I know that our women are going to do so very well. Christine in the corner. Make she tell you, when she done run, she does see some picture up here. I send her the picture at the same time. I have so much love for her. I ran the 400 meter. So the quarter milers are even though I'm little, I used to run the 400. And the quarter milers are, they're special to me. Everybody is, but I have this really little soft spot for the quarter milers. So for the JT to come on board, we really appreciate it. We have V8 Energy coming on board, Ranzoni coming on board, and there's one more, and I'm not leaving anybody out. Western Union. Western Union. We need to understand that Western Union is the Grace Kennedy Money Services. They sponsor Alia. So, it's a partnership for them to be on board with this because they're aligned with Alia, who is obviously a great, great Jamaican. She deserves a statue. I don't know if we can petition for it, but she deserves a statue. We need to see somebody dive off. Everybody run it. We need a dive off now, right? You can help us with that, right? Yeah, we're going to put that responsibility on you because you are right there with them. Start the petition for us, we will sign it up. But Vilma's responsibility is to get Alia a statue. Big job, big job. All right, so Thanks to all of the sponsors, thanks to all the presenters, the people who are behind the camera, making this go out live to those who are watching. And we have to say thank you for all those who have tuned in for us as an audience. We hope that you enjoyed it. I've been getting feedback, some text messages. People are happy, most of them from women, but some from men. And there are men who are watching now who are appreciating what's going on and bigging up Tough Cookie know herself. And this is a part of the dream. In 2012, I went to a conference. It was a sports conference put on by Samuda and Johnson and by Carol Beckford. And that is where the dream of Yardie Sports began, at that conference. Day one, I said, Dwayne, you need to start doing something in sport. You need to probably put on an event or something. And by day two, it mushroomed into something bigger. In that same year, in September, Sanya won her first Olympic gold medal. She had been so close for so long. And when she did, I cried, obviously, as her big brother. But then I was also inspired, and I started the Facebook page like 2 days later. And some of the girls that I coach said, yes, coach, it's long time for start something. And Facebook chatting all the time, blah, 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 blah. So they were happy and they were supportive, and we've continued to grow. And we will continue to grow this. We will continue to grow this conference and continue to have the impact that we want to have. And two of the most important people in making that happen are the people who ensure that you all have a good time, Antonio and Celia. Antonio, like I said, we're coming from Vast Prep, from about 4 or 5. So we've been beside each other forever. But if you know Celia, if you interact with Celia one time, Celia become your friend, same time. You must love her. And her willingness to be a part of this is tremendous. I'm not doing anything without her. I tell her that. I'm not doing anything without her because she's very important to me. And I think I'm going to rope in Trishana. Don't tell her yet. But her energy, I don't think we can leave her out. So yeah, we're going to build a team and continue to grow this. But before we go, we also have to recognize one of our real great Olympians, Miss Vilma Charlton. She went to 3 consecutive Olympic Games when making the Olympic Games team wasn't an easy thing. You understand? 3. It's hard not to say that I don't envy you because I never had the courage to go beyond just what I did in track and field. Running for Vaz, not doing it at KC, then doing it at UWI. You represented Jamaica 3 consecutive times. It's a big deal. And you are here with us 2nd year in a row. That for me is a big deal. For you to agree to come to the conference this year and present, I am so thrilled and happy. And you didn't have to, but you didn't say no, you didn't hesitate, you just said yes. What's the theme, where, when, what time, and you turned up. So thank you very much again. I'm highlighting you because I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, man, and I said, the guys behind the camera, all of them who making it go out, it couldn't happen without them. Abnormal Production House and his team. We have to big them up. The JC man up the road. Yeah, JC, KC combination. You never know it could happen, but it has. So yeah. We are rivals in sport, but we are friends. We are friends just the same. So thank you all for being here. We're a little longer than we expected to be, but I think it has been a really good one. And thank you all for being here. Thank you again to all the sponsors who made this possible. And we'll start planning for 2022 because the fact that we're able to do it in 2021 says that we can do anything. So we'll be back in 2022. Thank you very much. Before we go, one more basket to Miss Celia French. Here at time, Ali.
I need to say something about Celia. I met Celia years ago when we used to do another sporting event for the prep school. And I was doing Pediasure at the time. And there is something about this woman. And I want to actually just bless God for you. And I pray that He continues to guide you in whatever you do. I pray that whatever you do, it touches and it comes to gold. I want you to know that we, in the sporting fraternity, I'm picking up myself beside Dwayne. we do appreciate what you've been doing. And I know that it hasn't been, the season isn't what it used to be. But on behalf of Dwayne, Yardie Sports, on behalf of Caramed, because you've been there with us for years, we just want to present this little token to you and say, keep on doing the good work. God is pleased. Thank you so much. And I want to say to Dwayne, taking over, Dwayne. I met Dwayne, oh my word, again through Ensure. And I remember this little man saying him want to run sport, and he wants to be the best sports club. And I kept on, there's something inside of him, that just made me say yes. I guess God has his hands on some people. And Dwayne, I want you also not be wearing well, Dwayne. You're doing excellent. When I see your photos in the different newspapers and I follow you, I'm so proud of what you are doing and what you have become and what is there for you in the future. We will support you 100%. We will continue to support you because this is what Jamaica needs. Thank you so much.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. One more sterling year. We must say, despite of all that has happened between 2020 and 2021, just the mere fact that Dwayne is able to put on this conference and the turnout today by all the ladies, all the powerful ladies that came today, is testament to the resilience and what sports can do for a nation and for an event. So, Celia.
We are at the end. And just like I started, I will end. Women, wise, organized, mentors, excelling naturally in sports, skillful, persevering, outstanding, record-breaking, tenacious, and stellar. God bless you. Antonio, God bless you.
Ditto.